Welcome to What's the Scenario with PLRB, where we explore claims and coverage scenarios relevant to insurance professionals. I'm Alicia Watley.
I'm Mike Brode.
I'm Tim Havler.
And I'm Andrew Lucius, AVP of Weather and Catastrophe Services at PLRB.
He's back Andrew, for another one.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't get enough of us, huh?
I love it, yeah. Can't wait.
So, Andrew, what's the scenario?
Yeah, so a small grocery store specializes in farm-to-table meat and fish, locally sourced and priced at the high end of the market. After accepting their week's shipment on a Wednesday evening, thunderstorms hit the area that night. The insured claims that a power outage that night left the grocery store without power for hours on end, spoiling an entire week's worth of pricey meat and fish. Just a few blocks away, a music store owner claims that on the same night, lightning struck the shed behind the store, damaging expensive electronics equipment.
Just ruining everything, ruining food, ruining music, storms.
Farm to table.
I know. That's
meat.
And of course,
sounds wholesome.
And of course, there's a premium
fresh.
On that, so, all right. So we got a power outage. I have a question, and I probably don't do the right thing when it is a power outage. What are you supposed to do during a power outage? Is there are there tips that I'm not, doing that could make things easier for me?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I get in the fetal position and just cry.
I run down and check my sub pump battery usually.
Oh,
that's
smart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing I do is I usually have flashlights hidden in not hidden, but in certain rooms in case there's a power outage, and I'm like, I gotta see, and my phone's not readily available. There's one in my living room, one in my kitchen, one in my bedroom.
Yeah, I have those. I text ComEd too. Usually they say, I just give them my address and they say, thanks for reporting. We're working on it.
They say, leave us alone, Tim. We're busy trying to restore power.
No,
better things to do.
You're not the only one, Tim.
I do not open the freezer or the refrigerator.
Yeah, good point.
Make it a point not to do that. It's kind of hard sometimes. Forget.
Yeah, what if you're hungry?
I know.
Exactly.
So, my next question is, how do I investigate if a power outage happened where I'm located? So, or say I'm the owner of the fancy meats and fish, and I'm mad that all my money is about to go out the window. How do I investigate if a power outage happened where my warehouse restaurant is?
Yeah, great question, Alicia. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Ooh.
More pictures.
Okay, so I'm on the PLRB website here, and we have a Weather and Cats resource hub. So I'm going to go to get a power outage report. So I'll go ahead and click on that. That'll open up a new browser tab. And in this case, I have a specific address that we're looking at.
The address out there?
No. I'm not going to enter the street address, so that'll be our secret. In this case, it was in Houston, Texas. And I'll go ahead and select that. So we're working with a company called Gridmetrics and their Power Event Notification System, PENS for short, to provide historical power outage reports to our members. And they work with communication companies to monitor about 350,000 sensors across the U.S. And then PENS power sensors are tightly aligned with population density and cover many metro suburban areas of the U.S. And their coverage is about 50% of the U.S. by population, but they're always working with potential data suppliers to increase their coverage footprint. So I went ahead and selected the date. Here we see that there's coverage for this area. And then I'll go ahead and select the date. In this case, it was May 16th. And then when I click submit, you should receive a power outage report within just a few minutes. And then just a little bit more about their sensors, that they're located in the neighborhood broadband cable utility enclosures that monitor power health, uptime, and downtime at the neighborhood level. And they are independent of the power utility supplied data sources. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up that power outage report. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see the image plot of the report. For the audio listeners, the image plot is basically a square with 9 smaller squares within that larger square, so similar to like a tic-tac-toe grid. And then the power outage data is aggregated into 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer squares. It's based on the U.S. National Grid, USNG for short. So it's much higher resolution when compared to, say, county level power outage data. So what we're looking at here, 8 out of the 9 squares are showing up as orange, including the center cell. There's one cell where coverage was not available. And what this means is that one or more sensors within the center cell, which contains the address, experienced one or more outages. And also one or more sensors within the neighboring cells also experienced outages. The data cannot tell you if a specific address experienced an outage, but in general, if the report shows multiple USNG cells with an outage, then the confidence that the addresses within those cells experienced an outage increases. So let's scroll down a little bit. Here we can see some statistics for the outages. We see the center square stats, which contains the address, number of outages. The longest outage recorded was over a day, 1 day and 14 minutes. Then we have like start time of the longest outage, shortest outage, and a few more stats. And then we also include any stats for the neighboring squares that's aggregated as well, longest outage, things like that. So in this case, we can say that it was highly likely that this address experienced an outage for several hours.
So the one thing it can't tell you, though, Andrew, right, is what caused the power outage. It can just tell you that power's out, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And what was the second part of that loss? Alicia to the record store. Tim, lightning, right?
Lightning. Yeah, there was a lightning. Well, the music store owner, my neighbor, claimed that there was a lightning strike. Lightning struck the shed behind the store, damaging, all the fender casters that were just chilling back there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For that, we'll go ahead and hop on the website one more time, and we go to our homepage. So in this case, we're back at the Weather and Cast Resource Hub. And for this, I'll go to Get a Lightning Report. And I'm just going to open that in a new browser tab. So this is pretty similar. We're just going to enter an address. This was just a few blocks away in Houston. Let's select that from the dropdown. And I'm going to go ahead and select the same date. It was May 16th. I can leave end date blank, and then go ahead and click on search. So it's going to give me just some statistics here, no plots or images. So here we see highest lightning probability of the day, 100%. So this data is updated hourly by the National Weather Service, and each hourly forecast represents the probability of one or more cloud to ground lightning strikes during a 1 hour period. And that's valid over a 20-kilometer area. We take the hourly forecast probability geospatial data and aggregate that into a new layer, which displays only the highest lightning probability of the day. So 100%, very high. And then we see lightning detected by satellite during a couple 1 hour periods. This would be 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and then also 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And this is based on the Geostationary Lightning Mapper, which is an instrument on the GOES-R satellite. And the GLM, Geostationary Lightning Mapper, detects the light emitted by lightning at the tops of clouds, day and night, and collects information such as the frequency, location, extent of lightning discharges. It measures total lightning both in cloud and cloud to ground lightning. GLM cannot distinguish between in cloud and cloud to ground lightning, however. And then the spatial resolution can vary, usually around a few square kilometers, but it can be much more than that. So it's a little different than an actual lightning strike report obtained from a vendor. It's not going to have pinpoint accuracy, but it can tell you that a high probability of lightning existed in the area. And it's just a quick, easy search you can use.
So we've got all these reports, power outages, lightning. What can we use these reports for?
So a lot of our members use the power outage reports for food spoilage claims. And then the lightning information That could be used for really anything. I see a lot of like HVAC. A lightning strike caused an HVAC to go out, and that needs to be replaced. Also, like in this scenario, electronics equipment was damaged due to a lightning strike.
What kind of coverage issues might arise from the food spoilage claims? If that's, me and my meat and my fish that got spoiled.
That's probably a Tim question.
Oh, you are here.
Yay. Yeah, I can remember back in the day, Tim, these ones were always confusing because there was differences between if it happened on premises, off premises, and was food spoilage covered? Did you have to have it specifically endorsed back on the policy? Lots of confusion for me on those, so can you help enlighten us, Tim? What can we learn?
Yeah, there's a big difference between the homeowners and the commercial. And then even within each of those, there's differences because it seems like every time they come up with a new version, they change that power failure exclusion, or sometimes they call it the utility services exclusion. So when you get the food spoiler, just one where you really have to start, you just read the exclusion very carefully, start to finish, and you make a mental note of everything that's in there. Is there an on premises, off premises distinction? Does it mention power surges and power failures or just failures? Is there an ensuing loss clause in there? And then sometimes you need to really pin down all of those things in your investigation so you can then get your facts of this loss and see if they're fitting within this exact exclusion within your policy. And like you said, Mike, sometimes on top of that, there is a endorsement for food spoilage. So then if you're excluded under the main policy, now you're going to go to the endorsement, and again, you're going to check, see if all the elements are satisfied. It's something that's really individualized, not only by policy, but by the facts of the claim. So for example, in this claim, you'd probably want to know where exactly the failure originated. I think it sounds like we know we have lightning maybe a couple blocks away, but did the outage start at the neighbors, or did it say cause a surge that blew up some electronics on the insured's premises? So where's that first point of failure? It's these types of things can get really important in these. Oh, and one more thing. There's the CP and BP forms have the artificially generated electrical current exclusion, which is a totally different one from the utility services. But this was lightning in this claim, which I would call naturally generated electrical current. So that one actually wouldn't be relevant in this particular case.
Cool. You know what my theory is, Tim?
Let's hear
Our
it.
farm to table guy left the food on the table, never put it into the fridge, and that's
right.
why.
Yeah.
Aha!
Yeah, that's what you need. Piles and piles of meat and fish just chilling on a table. So is there anything else I missed in regards to what we can do with the report from the power outage and how that affects food? We haven't really talked about the effects on the guy with the shed and the equipment. Did I, or did I miss it?
No, we didn't, but yeah, there at least you could use Andrew's report to help confirm was there lightning in the area, which there could have been. So at least to an adjuster, that's your first tip that it's within the realm of possibilities that this could happen. And then, like Tim said, you got to dig in and figure out all the facts, what happened to the electronic equipment, and does it look like it's consistent with a lightning strike in the nearer area? Was there a lightning strike in that near enough area that it's going to cause some damage, or some kind of a surge like Tim talked about? So lots of things the rep would have to dig into, but at least you get a good start with the information Andrew can share from PLRB on was there even lightning out there, or was there even utility services out in the area that your insured claims that the loss happened. So very useful information, Andrew, at your fingertips at plrb.org.
So Andrew, what can we take away from this scenario?
Yeah, so the historical power outage reports we provide can be used to assist with food spoilage and a variety of other claims. The reports are fairly high resolution at the neighborhood level, as opposed to county level power outage report. And then the lightning data we provide can quickly tell the user if lightning existed in the area of a claimant.
And Mike, where can an adjuster go to learn more?
Tim, of course, you can always head out to plrb.org. Check out Andrew's WeatherCat tab on our homepage. There, enter that address. You can get your power outage report. Scroll down, you can get the lightning report, add another address, do the search. And the legal team has created the wonderful adjuster resource sheets on food spoilage claims under commercial forms for property adjusters, which you can find also at our fabulous plrb.org website. So, Alicia, could you share all that wonderful information for our viewers and listeners in the show notes?
Well, I won't, but our producer will. So there you can also find a recap of the key points from our episode. You can find links to our social media. You can find information on how to submit your own adjuster story. And so I close with this. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us. And we'll see you all next time.
Yay. Thanks, Andrew. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.
The views and opinions expressed in this resource are those of the individual speaker and not necessarily those of the Property and Liability Resource Bureau, its membership, or any organization with which the presenter is employed or affiliated. The information, ideas, and opinions are presented as information only and not as legal advice or offers of representation. Individual policy language and state laws vary, and listeners should rely on guidance from their companies and counsel as appropriate.